Hello everybody, I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Mpho. I am a CA and over here we chat on things business, careers, properties, and sometimes a little bit about life. Today's conversation is a career conversation and I'm speaking specifically to women. I recently attended the ABASA Women Leading Convention and Award ceremony. This was a few weeks back. And, I've heard people saying that we've got enough women organization, we've got enough women conversations going on. We should stop talking. We should stop attending these networking events. But I honestly had such a great time and it almost felt like church. It almost felt like a revival of some sort. And I was going to post this video as a vlog, but so much of the content and value that arose or that I got from that event would have been lost in a vlog. So I thought instead of doing this as a vlog, I should come on here and share with you guys my 5 key takeaways that I got from the ABASA Leading Women Award Show and Conference. For those of us who don't know ABASA, they are the Advancement of Black Accountants South Africa. They basically do just that. They look at accountants who are black and basically enhance their voice, give them opportunities and make them known and heard in the market. This event was specifically organized by the women chapter of ABASA, so the women of ABASA. And, we had great people, great leaders that I personally look up to in the room, the likes of Tantaswa Fubu, Shirley Mashaba, the CEO of PwC. We had Linda Magoma, who's actually the president of ABASA, and many, many other leading women. I could never name them all, but we were graced with really leading women, leading black CAs in the market. And then we also had ourselves, sort of like young-ish professionals. I should stop considering myself as a young professional because I've been at this for 8 years now. That's a long enough time. But yeah, we had us more like professionals who are finding their voice, who are being firm in what they believe in, and obviously people a lot older, but also people a lot younger in their journey, people who haven't necessarily started their articles, people in varsity still. So it's a nice mix of professionals and even emerging professionals. And the energy in the room, guys, one thing I can say is that the future really is bright. And I'm going to get into some of the lessons or some of the key takeaways I want to share with you guys. But I thought I should also just mention that the future is bright for black women. The future is bright for black people. I know for the longest of time, it's felt like we're struggling to find our footing. But, being in the presence of women who are leaders in the organization, black women who are leaders in their organization, just made me realize that there is a space for black professionals. And, we always say that the most difficult thing about changing culture is the biases that we hold, or the biases that people in leadership, especially in various entities, hold. But to have a black woman potentially as your boss, or a black woman in the organizations, many black women coming up in the organizations that we work for, shows that things will be a little bit easier for the next generation of black young women professionals. Now I'm getting carried away. Let me get into the 5 lessons that I want to share with you guys, 5 key takeaways from the ABASA Leading Women event. The first one is that as a black woman, there are communities invested in your growth. There are communities whose sole mission is to see you win, and you need to find them. As I just mentioned now, many of us spend so much time thinking about how we are not belonging in certain spaces, thinking about how we're finding it difficult to penetrate certain spaces. Sometimes because the spaces, like I said in my last video, if you hadn't checked that out, I'll link it somewhere. Sometimes because those spaces were not designed with us in mind. On the other end, there is really many organizations that have been created with the sole purpose of advancing women voices, with the sole purpose of advancing and enhancing voices of people who look like you. You need to find them and you need to be a part of them. You need to serve in them because that'll give you so much energy. It'll give you so much strength to even go on to the spaces where you feel like you are fighting for belonging and actually continuing to fight even further. I am in property, so other spaces that I can think of are the likes of SABURB, the South African Institute of Black Property Practitioners, the like of WPN, the Women Property Network, and like I mentioned, all of them really want to to advance that community or the members of that community. So find them. Find an organization that's going to anchor you. Find an organization of people who share similar beliefs to you. Find an organization of people who are fighting for the same causes as you are. That'll give you so much power, like I already mentioned. And that'll make the load or yoke a little bit easier. You don't have to bear it on your own. There are people who are fighting, for the most part, for the same causes that you are. Find them. I could never emphasize that enough. Find a community, belong in an organization, tap into those existing networks and make yourself useful. And you'll be surprised as to how those networks can also work for you as well. The next key takeaway, and if I were to say to you guys, take one thing out of this video, it'll be this one. Success is great, but significance is better. Strive to be significant and not just successful. I always appreciate having people put into words what I feel. I didn't go to private school, so a lot of these things that I'm feeling, I really rely or have benefited greatly from people who are either more experienced or more well-read or more educated than me to put it into words for me. And this is what Bongi Ngoma, who was our keynote speaker, she is also the head of Audit National at the Auditor General. This is what she did for me. She put into words the things that I've been feeling. I haven't been able to express it, but this is exactly how I have been feeling. If you know me, you will know that I am about impact. You will know that it's not about just how much money I get to make, but it's about the difference that I get to make. It's about making life easier for the next girl. It's about making sure that no one gets left behind. Bongi broke down what it means to be successful versus what it means to actually be a person that's significant. We all know what it means to be successful. You get, and again, we define success differently, but usually when we look at and refer to someone as successful, we're usually looking at the amount of money that they have, we're looking at their house, we're looking at what they have attained for themselves. Significance, on the other hand, is about who you have helped, the number of people that you have helped, how you've made the world easier, how you've made something easier for the next person. It's more about not just contributing for yourself, but serving, being of service. I also was listening to a podcast actually with agenda women, Nomdeni Mdaki, who had Nozipho Chabalala on the podcast. I feel like when something is on my mind, it'll get affirmed over and over again. And I appreciate that so much because sometimes, you hear something and it sort of flits from your mind and then you need to be reminded. And this is what Nozi also reminded me. She also spoke about how many of us want to achieve success first. And once we've achieved success, however we define it, but usually, like I said, having a certain number in your bank account, having a certain house, driving a certain car. Once we've achieved success, then we start thinking, how can I help the other person? But what she also mentioned is that it is so important to actually flip it. Say, don't wait for success to then start reaching for significance. Right where you are, ask yourself how you can be of service, how you can help other people, and how through your help, through being of service, you can then achieve significance. And like I said, significance is not just about you. It isn't just about your success. It's about our collective success. It's about looking at the community or a cause that you're passionate about and saying, this is what I've done. This is what I have done for this community, not just for myself, but this is what my impact can be measured on, not just my own rand, but how we have done as a community. But what we also need to realize is that significance isn't for everyone, and that is important, and that is okay. Many people, I'm going to exclude myself here, but many people are quite comfortable achieving certain success for themselves, and that is perfectly fine. But for those of us who are not, for those of us who want more, not just for ourselves, but for our communities, we need to lean onto that. And we need to understand that you will get pushbacks because the system, for the most part, was designed for individual success. So if you're the one who wants to go beyond that, then you will get some pushback, and that is okay. There was also a quote that someone mentioned in the conference that, I think it was Bongi, that if you want to cause trouble, then you must be prepared for the backlash and all of the uneasiness that comes with choosing the road less traveled. You must be open to that, and that must be something that you're willing to stand for. So it's not going to be easy. There'll be a lot of pushback, there'll be a lot of resistance, and that could even lead you to doubting yourself. But you shouldn't be deterred. If you know that you're one person who's passionate about impact, who's passionate about not just themselves, but helping out the next person, then keep at it and find a community of people who also feel the same, a community of people who want to have the same impact. So when the world tells you that you're crazy, you've got a community of believers who cheer you on and keep you moving. The next point, and this is number 3, is just a reminder for us to think intergenerational. You don't only learn from people who are older than you. You can also learn from your peers, and you can also learn from the people that are younger than you. And we had a panel discussion here which included really intergenerational women at the top of their careers, women in the middle of their careers, and even students were in the panel. And guys, when I tell you that this was really demonstrated on that panel, when you hear the differences in view, when you hear the differences in the types of thinking that we had represented in that panel, but at the same time, there was one common thread. The common thread was that the women who were there wanted to see each other win. Even though they were different and were coming from different generations, they all wanted to collaborate and they all wanted to be helpful to each other. So coming back to my point, and I want to spend a few minutes speaking to people of my age specifically, and then we're going to get to everybody else. I feel like people my age look up a lot. We look up a lot because we feel like there's people that we could be learning from. We look up a lot because we feel like there's people who could be mentoring us. And that's all in well. But I feel like we're not doing enough of looking amongst ourselves. Because like I said, I have been working for 8 years. That is a long time. I've got a lot of experience that I can teach, especially looking at the path that I have taken. So I've chosen to specialize and go into commercial property. There's other friends who are now even CEOs, people who are financial controllers, people who have gone more into the technical finance, technical accounting side. We've got people who are also bankers. We're doing different things. And imagine if, as a network, we came together and we learned from each other. I feel like we're not doing enough of that, and we need to look into that, because also we are the leaders of tomorrow. We are the leaders of tomorrow, but we could also just be so much more powerful if we led from right where we are today. From right where we are today, if we led and sort of peer coached each other, imagine the magic that could happen. But also, I also want to challenge us on looking down. I feel like people my age, we haven't done a lot of the looking down and seeing how we can pull others up with us. We have looked up because we feel like we need the assistance, but we haven't looked down to see how we can be of assistance. And I want to challenge us to do that, to do more of that. But also then going to the general. There is so much power in collaborating intergenerationally. There is certain opportunities that exist today that someone who's been working for 20 years just won't identify. But a young girl coming from UJ today, who's seeing how, the world is interacting, who is actually the world today, would benefit even the board if they allowed her that opportunity. So there is great benefit to be derived from collaborating intergenerationally. And for people my age to also not just be looking up and saying, I want to be mentored, because also the women at the top are busy. The women at the top are so busy. We could also be mentoring each other, and we could also be mentoring the people that are even less experienced than we are. So just to recap on it, we don't need to only just look up. You can look down, you can look amongst your peers, and you don't have to wait until you have made it, until you've gotten to what you consider to be the top. So be it the C-suite and whatnot. You can start now. You can start, if you are a decision maker, or if you've got the ear of decision maker, you can start recommending more people from a certain community that you want to uplift for decisions, for opportunities, for economic inclusion. We can start doing that now. Social inclusion as well. The whole concept of lifting as you rise. It's not to say that rise, and then when you're right at the top, then see how you can lift. But as you rise up, you lift with you. And that is so important, guys. Let's not forget that. Let's not wait to make it. Right. The next point is that number 4, when it comes to entrepreneurship, and even corporate success, you need to have a clear why. And guys, money is not the why. In fact, I believe that if you wanted money, you probably shouldn't go to entrepreneurship, because you would probably make more money in corporate if you have a certain qualification. So let's say like the CA qualification. So if you stuck around and concerned yourself with climbing up the ladder, you'd probably make a good amount of money. So money will never be enough, and it should never be the motivation for doing anything. I think those that have gone to business actually are better at defining their why than many of us who stay in corporate or have stayed in corporate to this point. You know, they are confronted with this conversation and this question quite early on in their careers. You know, when you want to start a business, you must understand your target market, you must understand the problem that you're solving, you must understand how your product fits into the overall ecosystem that currently exists for that market. I feel like those of us who stay in corporate can also sort of take a passive, and this, I must make it clear, I'm not talking about myself here. I'm talking about in general, people who stay in corporate. We don't have a clear enough reason for why we're staying. We're staying because it pays the bills. We get the next role and get the salary bump. And, you know, it becomes sort of a passive way to manage a career. So before I go specifically to what I learned from the ABASA Leading Women Conference, I just want to challenge those of us who incorporate to also just never forget this why. Never forget that it is important for us to not live our lives on autopilot as well. We need to be clear and intentional and know why we're doing something. But back to the conference, okay? So there was a panel discussion which was hosted by the lovely Pam Mainama, and it was a panel discussion featuring entrepreneurs. And, you know, the one thing that was clear is that the ladies who were on the panel had a clear why. They understood what they were doing, and they understood why it is that they were doing it. And, you know, for most of them, well, actually for all of them, it was for a reason bigger than themselves. It was for a reason bigger than I want to make money. It was for a reason bigger than saying I am an entrepreneur. So you need that push. You know, that's something from within, which I believe that every single one of us has, that push from inside that tells you this is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be fighting for. I just believe that over time, we got so great at just silencing that voice and not hearing it, that we think it's not there, but it is there. And the ladies, guys, they pour their hearts out. You could hear that these guys are, and they actually did say, they're driven by two main things, purpose and God. Where money wasn't there, they were upfront to say that, you know what, money isn't always there, but we're doing this anyways. We're doing this anyways because we believe in the mission. We believe in the cause. And, you know, that is to say that a cause or mission that precedes you as an individual, that is bigger than you as an individual, is what will keep you going. Not money, because money will be there sometimes and money sometimes won't be there. Like I said, I think this also applies in corporate. For you to continue, you need a bigger why. And if you haven't sort of interrogated what that why is for you, think about it. Think about why you're doing what you're doing and find something to push you. Find something to keep you going. Find something to do this for. Because if you're doing it for all of the selfish reasons, then you're not going to be able to sustain it. And finally, guys, number 5 is that the future is in good hands. And I can say this with sureness because of the amazing young ladies from different varsities who were present in that conference. We had young ladies who made sure that their voice was heard, who made sure that their ideas, their drive, their confidence was noticed in the room. And I felt it, and it gives me so much joy and so much hope. And, you know, I look forward to what our institutions will look like once these ladies come into our rooms, into our boardrooms, once these young ladies become decision makers. It isn't lost on me, though, that we're asking of these ladies to come and continue fighting. And that's because that's the state of where our world is. We haven't achieved gender equality, so that will remain a big point, not only in South Africa, but across the globe. We haven't achieved it. So they will have to come and pick up and fight in the same way that we have. You know, someone also mentioned that they would love for these young ladies to start working, and their fights, their struggle is, which car do I drive? Which shoes do I wear? How do I look? But unfortunately, it's not that. We will still have to fight for the inclusion of women in economic activities, in economic opportunities, and in the workplace. More so, we will still need to fight for the inclusion of Black women, because even today, we still need to be overqualified for the same sort of opportunities that someone else would get, overqualified to get access to the same rooms that our counterparts get. So, I mean, the future is bright, and I know you young ladies will do so well. I met many amazing young women that gave me so much hope and, made me look forward to tomorrow. So don't lose that fight, you guys. Don't let it be stripped out of you, because, like I said, the future is bright and you will get to own it. So much work is being done to ensure that you get to own it. You will own it. That's it, you guys, for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun filming this. So as always, let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. And thank you so much to ABASA. I didn't mention every single person that was involved in making sure that this happens, but it was really food for the soul. So thank you so much to the ABASA team for making sure that we get those opportunities, for making sure that we get to network in this way, and for pouring into us. The ladies have been fighting for a long time, and the ladies are still not tired. So thank you so much for that. And to you guys watching this, I hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, bye.